So what does it look like to buy a home in 2025 in the North Dallas, Texas market? We're going to go over 7 things that you need to consider when you're thinking about buying a home in 2025.
First, we've got to talk about what the current market landscape looks like. Home prices are up in some places and they're down in some as well.
Yeah, so in the actual city of Dallas and in Fort Worth, they actually saw a slight decrease, and we're talking slight, less than maybe 2% in the median home price. But in other suburbs, like let's say Denton, which is about 40 minutes north of Dallas, we're actually seeing home prices increase. So you really do need to understand what the current market landscape is of the specific city that you're wanting to live in. Are home prices decreasing a little? Are they staying flat, or are they rising? Okay, number 2, you need to leverage the fact that there's going to be increased inventory, especially at the beginning of 2025. Spring is the Super Bowl season.
Right.
When it
Right.
comes
Spring in
to
real estate is really like the second week of January.
when it comes to sellers selling and increased inventory, that's when a lot of sellers are selling, is anywhere from late January to about the end of April is where we see a lot of activity. So there is going to be an increase of inventory, and we'll kind of get into some of the pros and cons of that as we go through the list.
Yeah, but inventory wise, we've got a lot, homes are sitting a little bit longer than what we traditionally see. And so a lot of those homes are going to carry over into the beginning of 2025, which for you as a buyer, that's a huge benefit because the longer a home sits, the more motivated that seller is going to be.
That's right. So yes, so definitely take a look at how long has that home been on the market. So if you're looking to buy in January, February, if that home listed in, let's say, November, there's a really good chance it's still on the market because people just really kind of stop shopping around the holidays. So you really want to take a look at that. Let's talk about what everybody is concerned about today, and that's the interest rates. So you really want to make sure you are partnered with a really good lender and that you can monitor the interest rates. Sometimes it might be even daily, but you really want to monitor the interest rates and see how it's trending. You want to make sure that the lender that you're using is local, for one thing, someone that you have their cell phone number, you have their email address, that we have their cell phone.
We just finished a lunch meeting with our local lender here and just got to talk to her about what interest rates doing. And they have seen them come up a little bit,
which is normal.
Right.
After an election, they just come up just a little bit, but this is their lane. Interest rates, it's really, when it comes to a realtor, be careful what they tell you because it's really not our lane. And really be careful when a realtor tells you to marry the house and date the rate. It sounds good, but be careful about that because
we don't know the future.
We don't know. We can't tell you the rates are going to come down. So what we tell you is if you can afford the mortgage today, then move forward. But monitor the rates and see how they're trending and make sure you're working closely with not only your agent, but their lending partner.
Right.
Okay, so and the 4th thing is going to be explore emerging neighborhoods. There are places north of Dallas, because that's what we're talking about here, is living north of Dallas. And so places like McKinney and Allen and Denton, those places are thriving. Those are really great places. And you might think, well, why would I want to purchase there? Because that means the home prices aren't falling. Exactly. You don't necessarily want to buy in a place where home prices are decreasing because we don't know when that will come back up. It could take years for that area to swing back up. But we know that places historically like McKinney and Plano and Allen and Frisco and Denton are in great places along the I-35 corridor here in North Texas, where we're seeing a lot of good job opportunities. Home prices are stabilized, if not increasing, which is a good thing for you when it comes to building equity in your home.
Sure. We're part of the economic development wing of the Denton Chamber of Commerce. And so we have a lot of insight in reaching out to businesses and asking them to consider Denton as a place for their headquarters or their warehouses. And so the job market in Denton is really good.
Oh, yeah. Denton, well, not just Denton, but places where you could live in Denton where it's definitely more affordable than Dallas and commute to your job. So the reason why we say to explore emerging neighborhoods is because they're still affordable, but yet there's growth there. And that's kind of what you want to see. If you're looking for a place like Prosper, it's already grown and those prices are beyond crazy. But you want to look at the emerging neighborhoods where there's still some affordability there but yet the growth is happening. That's really where you want to get in,
Yeah,
is
and
those
most of the growth
cities.
in this area is north of Dallas and north
Yeah.
of Fort Worth. As the
Yeah.
cities get fuller and fuller, people are, at least in this area, are migrating north. And
Yes, especially more north of Fort Worth, because you have to remember that you've got Dallas and Fort Worth, and then you've got Denton. So it's a triangle.
really north of
North of
Fort
Fort
Worth,
Worth
between
is,
Fort Worth and Denton
yeah,
on Interstate 35, there's still a lot of room for growth. There's still a lot of open
yes.
land. And speaking of open land, we've got several emerging neighborhoods
Hmm.
that are in the very beginning stages of even developing.
Yeah.
And
So we're
so
gonna do a lot of videos on
so
that.
stay tuned for that,
Yeah.
because there's a couple that we're following that we want to
Yeah.
be the first ones to bring you guys information on those
Yeah.
neighborhoods.
But the thing is a lot of the same builders that are building north of Fort Worth, which is more on the west side of North Texas, versus places like Prosper, Salina,
Mhm.
Frisco, they're the same builder.
Yeah.
But you move
Yeah.
over just a little bit to the west side and you get a much better price for the exact same quality build. So that's why we mentioned to look out for emerging neighborhoods or emerging cities. Okay, so the fifth tip that we want to give you for buying a home in the North Dallas, Texas area in 2025 is be prepared for competition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Competition is fierce, and competition, we know when demand is high, prices go up. So you want to be on the front end of that and take advantage of good prices rather than being on the back end and those prices going up. You know, a lot of the new construction builders are increasing prices almost monthly. And so waiting even 30, 60, 90 days
Yeah, it
to
can
buy a
cost
home
you.
could
Yeah.
cost you.
And I believe it was as of December 2022. Don't quote me because I could get this number wrong, but I believe it was 16 million, if not more. 16 million buyers were priced out of the market. That's a lot of buyers. But
Yeah.
as rates start to come down a little, as we see sellers start to give a little bit towards buyer credits,
Concessions.
concessions, more buyers, their affordability, is better and they're starting to enter the market. So when we say be prepared for competition, that's what we mean. We mean that not only are sellers selling starting in January, February, March, and April,
Buyers
are buying. They have slowed down around the holidays,
right?
Because it's the holidays. They really slow down, and it just gets dark at 5 o'clock.
Right.
Which,
Who wants to go look at houses
nobody
in the
wants to do
dark?
that. So be prepared for competition, which means if you are looking in a more affordable price range, you could start seeing multiple offers, which we're not seeing these offers go crazy like they did in the frenzy of 2020. We're not seeing that, but what we're seeing is that you're no longer getting help from the seller to pay for your closing costs. So we're seeing a couple of things go away when it comes to multiple offers. So be prepared to have some competition and make sure your finances are in order. Number 6, work with a local expert. It's really important that you work with. Is your agent full-time? Are they part-time? Because I'm going to tell you right now, the average agent sells about 0 to maybe 6 homes a year. And if your agent isn't constantly buying and selling every single month, they're not on top of what's happening in the market.
Right.
They don't know how to make your offer look its best. And price isn't always the best indicator of the best offer. There are other terms in the contract that can make your offer look better. There's relationships that we have with a lot of agents that can go a long way. So make sure you know who your agent is. And, I hate to say this, but just because your cousin has a license doesn't mean they're the best person that you should be using, because if they're not out there buying and selling every day like we are, this is our full-time job. We're looking at the market every day. We know what terms to put in an offer to get it accepted.
Something else is having a good negotiator for an agent. I'll say this, and I'm impartial. Jen's my wife, and we work together every day. But Jen goes to bat for our buyers. So, for instance, we just had some clients recently who negotiated some repairs, and so they had agreed, and the seller agreed on $2,500 in concessions.
I think the buyer had agreed. The seller had come back with a number, and I thought we could get a little bit more.
But the buyers were good with that first number,
and
Jen was like, "I think I can get some more." And so she went back, and they said, "Okay, done."
Yeah. And so I love delivering the good news to buyers and saying, hey, by the way, I just got you another $500. I just got you another $1,000.
Yeah.
Because I'm of the mindset, first of all, I love a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
We're not here to stick it to the
No,
seller, stick it to the
absolutely
buyer.
not.
That's not our MO. We don't do that. But I like a good win-win situation. But the answer is always no if you don't ask. Always.
Always.
So it really matters who you work with, and they need to be, especially in this market. Because let me tell you something about the market that's really interesting. When it changes, it changes.
Yeah,
There
instantly.
is no sliding in and sliding back out.
Yeah.
It changes on a dime. And so you need to work with someone who is constantly in the market, knowing how to put a good contract together.
Yeah.
Number 7, plan for the long term. This is where that phrase, marry the house and date the rate, I don't like. When you buy a home, guys, this is a long-term investment. Your home is not a bank. When you put that money into your home, you can't get it back out until you sell it. And if you sell it in a year, you might actually be a little under because you've got fees.
Right.
And depending on the neighborhood might stay stagnant for a little bit. I mean, historically, homes are rising.
On the
You know
rise,
that.
but if you're only in it a year or even 2 years, there may not be enough appreciation to cover your costs. And so think long term.
Long term, yes.
National Association of Realtors statistic is the average person sells every 5 to 7 years. And we kind of see that. We've had clients come back to us after about 4 or 5 years and they're ready for that next step.
But depending on what the market has been doing for 4 or 5 years is going to determine how much equity they have in their home. Just know that when you purchase a home, it's a long-term investment. And what we tell our buyers is, if you're comfortable with the mortgage that you enter in at, and you can be comfortable with that for the next 3 or 4 years, then move forward, because we don't know when and if rates are going to come down. We're hopeful that they're coming down, but I'll tell you, we do believe it's going to be a slow progression, and it needs to be to protect you, the buyer.
Right.
Because if rates drop suddenly, guess what? Home prices will increase so quickly that once again, you won't be able to buy.
Right.
So
you'll be emptying your bank account and all of your savings to put it in the house.
Because you'll have to overpay. Just like everybody.
And we saw people doing that during the pandemic, way overpaying.
Oh yeah.
And then being in a situation where they did have to sell a few years later and almost upside down.
Yeah.
And that's very disheartening, because a car, just like car depreciates and a home appreciates. But if you don't stay in the house the long term.
Yeah, because we don't have a crystal ball, and we can't, people who bought in 2020 probably had instant equity. It just increased, and then it kind of stopped for a little bit. But so it is a long-term investment. And that is why most lenders, and I'll let them do their job. Most lenders will tell you, don't put 20% down. By the way, you don't have to put 20% down.
Big myth.
3.5%, 5% is about what you had to put down.
Yeah.
They say don't do 20% because the money is stuck in your house until you can sell it.
So unless you got a bank account full of money, then putting 20% down, you don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that. And real quick, while we're talking about living north of Dallas, because that's where we live, we just want to talk real quick about why choose this area when you could live in Austin or Houston or San Antonio or East Texas. Sorry, West Texas. I know you don't get a lot of love from us, and we've heard from you about that, but we're just not familiar with West Texas. But we love North Texas for a couple of reasons.
Dude.
The job opportunities here are
fast.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of major companies that have chosen to move their headquarters here.
Right.
So you could live in a suburb of the Dallas area, but work somewhere else. So
we've never been in a position where we've had to commute, but I would say those that are coming in from other bigger states like California, New York, that have just ridiculous commutes.
We have heard that. We think that it's bad here, and they tell us you have no idea.
Yeah, we've talked to clients and said, an average commute here could be 30, 45 minutes. Maybe if traffic's bad, an hour. And where they come from, it's an hour and a half.
To move just a couple miles. So that's, just to drive a couple miles takes a long time. So it's really not that bad. But we do have a thriving economy here and job market here in the North.
We do. And lots of big corporations are bringing their corporations and companies into the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
And part of that is because we have an international airport. So, Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, well, that attracts a lot of international businesses.
Yeah, so, and I will say one thing about the airport is a lot of airports, you have to airport hop. You have to have a layover somewhere just to get to your main leg. But DFW Airport, that's very rare that you would have to do a
in fact, we have two airports. We have two
Yeah.
airports. So Southwest flies out of
Love
Dallas as
field.
well,
Mhm.
and then we have the international. So that would be a big reason to choose North Dallas over other areas of Texas. But let's also talk about just affordability. Now,
Yeah.
the city of Dallas itself, obviously, any big city, Austin,
Right.
Houston, San Antonio, Chicago, New York, those prices are going to be higher than the suburbs. But living even half an hour, 45 minutes from the hub of Dallas is not that far, and you're still
Right.
getting all the amenities that you need. We've got big chains like Costco,
HEB.
Spam, HEB,
Yeah.
Kroger, Target, Walmart. We have all those places, all those amenities. So,
I mean, some cities have multiples of those.
oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, even in our city in Denton, we've got 2 Walmart,
three Walmart,
3 Walmart,
maybe 4 if you consider the smaller one.
right? The neighborhood Walmart.
And we're in a town.
We're getting
we're
our
in
second
Denton.
Target.
Yeah, we're in Denton, and we're a town of 140,000. So I know when some people think of Texas, they think of nothing but, little tiny rolling hills and cows. And yes, that you can absolutely find that in Texas. But if you need a place of convenience, then North Dallas is absolutely the place to be.
Right.
Okay, so there are things to do here outside in North Texas.
A lot to do.
It's not hot all the time.
We're not the land of the lakes or 1,000 lakes or whatever.
We don't have
But there are a lot of lakes. So if you're an outdoor person and like to boat and water ski and fish and kayak, paddleboard, camping, there are multiple lakes that you could hit. You could hit a different lake every weekend.
Lots of bike trails, a lot of parks. So speaking of places, things to do outside, let's talk about the weather.
You know what? People complain about the weather in North Texas or in Texas in general.
I know.
But honestly, when you look at temperatures, they get warm about beginning to mid-June and they're warm till the 1st of September.
Yeah.
So really, there's like really 2 or 3, 2 hot months.
Yeah.
But outside of that,
it's nice.
all of us act like it's just miserably hot, and it can be, but it's not that bad.
Some years are just, it seems unbearable, and the other years it's just kind of a nice mild summer. In fact, this last summer was kind of one of those kind of nice mild summers. And then
the 2 before that, it was ridiculous, but those were anomalies.
But then the 10 before that were great. Right. So what I love about North Texas compared to the lower parts of Texas is we really do get all 4 seasons. Yes, people say we don't. So right now we're in fall as the recording of this video, and we're seeing temperatures in the 60s and the 70s and the 40s at night. It's really beautiful. And that lasts actually for a long time until we hit about January, February.
Yeah, January, February is the coldest months, but then after that, it's
2 months
break.
of winter. 2 months of winter. Yeah. Why would you want to live in Michigan?
Right.
Or, someplace where it's winter for like 6 months. No.
If we get a dusting of snow or 1 snow day, 2 snow days a year, we're just tickled. Yes. We shut everything down for the dusting of snow.
I mean, we've had Snowmageddon, but that was like a once in a 100-year thing that came along. But
it's not that bad.
Yeah, we just, honestly, here in North Texas, we really do have all 4 seasons. I know that in places like Houston, Austin,
a lot further south.
Hot, it's humid, hot for a much longer time, but not here. We really do get to enjoy all 4 seasons. So something we don't talk a lot about when it comes to living in North Texas is a strong long-term investment potential.
Yes.
Look, there's a lot of major universities here. In fact, in the city of Denton, we have 2 major universities and a thriving community college, and that totals about 60,000 students.
Yeah, I was talking to someone yesterday. I think they said the University of North Texas population is about 45,000. I think Texas Women University is like 16 to 18,
okay,
I think.
15 to 20, but
so with that come job opportunities and things like that. So they come into school here. A lot of international students come here. A lot of students come here, go to college, and don't leave because they find their jobs here.
Yeah. And if you're an investor, especially if you're someone from out of state, we tell a lot of our clients from California, because prices are so much more there. We always tell them, look, you can sell your house in California and you can get a house here for yourself and one to invest in, one as an investment. Easy, cash, no problem.
Yeah. And being a college town, that opportunity is there.
So yes, so something about North Texas to consider also if you are thinking about investing in real estate is that it really is a strong long-term investment opportunity.
Yeah.
And one last thing about North Dallas, or really even just the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, is it really is a very diverse place. You're going to find people from all over the world, restaurants, from really
You
all
name
over
it,
the
it's
world,
here.
different cuisines. It's so there's going to be something for everyone. It might not be in every single city, but
You're
I
never
always
within, you're
say
never 30
no.
minutes away
And I
from
always say,
anything.
if you're looking for a church that is a Bible church or a Catholic church or a mosque or a church, Hindu or whatever, a Muslim church, you're going to find that in the Dallas area.
Yes.
Like I said, it's not going to be in every city. It's going to be, those things are going to be easy for you to find. So the Dallas-Fort Worth area is a very diverse community. Okay, I know I said that was the last one, but we didn't talk about education. I know that's very important. It's one of the first questions we get from
Yeah.
a lot of people that we have
Yeah.
Zoom
Tell us
calls
about
with
the
is
schools.
education. So the Dallas-Fort Worth area really does have some of the top schools in Texas, honestly. And of course, that's going to vary from city to city and region to
Right.
region. And you're definitely going to want to check out places like niche.com or greatschools.org when it comes to schools, or really just talk to people that live in the area, get on Facebook groups
Yeah.
and talk to them, because some of those things don't really tell you the full picture of the school, but Dallas-Fort Worth area is
Right.
definitely known to have some really top-notch education. So buying a home in 2025 doesn't really look too much different than it has in the past. You
No,
need
I
to,
would say 2025 is going to be an exciting year
I think so
for
too.
the real estate
I
industry.
think
I
so
think
too. I'm
a lot of
excited
good
about
things
it.
to come.
I'm
Yeah.
excited about it, and we're hoping for a little bit more affordability for our buyers. But you know what? We have a lot of people, reach out to us from
Yeah.
all different states in the United
Oh my
States
goodness.
looking to make a
Yes.
move here,
Yes.
and they're not quite sure what city is right for them. So
And
if that's you and
yeah.
you're thinking about, hey, I'd love to explore the North Dallas area, give us a call. We'll do a Zoom call with you if you find
Yeah.
yourself in town, which a lot of people that call us end up just making the
Yeah.
visit, and we just show them around.
Let's
We'd
do it.
love
Let's
to
do
do
a Zoom
that.
call. We can open up the map and show you
Yeah.
around. And if you want to come to town, we can drive around and we can show you what it's like
Show you
to
all
look
the
like.
different little
And
cities around North
yeah.
Dallas, but we think it's a great place to live. We think 2025 is going to be a good year. If that is you, just make sure you connect with us. All the info is in the description below.
And it's never too early to start. Even if
Nope.
you don't think you can, you don't
Yes.
know until you've talked to us as an agent. We talk to a lender and let them look. You
Yeah.
could be closer than you think, or maybe you're a little bit further out, but let's make a plan. Let's put a plan in place and help you reach that goal of buying your home.
All right. Well, we've got a lot of videos about a whole bunch of neighborhoods and different places around the North Dallas area. So make sure you go back and take a look at all those, and we'll see you on the next one.